Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Tuesday, but this is the Weekly Pint. And since it's the show that's not a show, sometimes we can do it on Tuesdays, and that's okay. And hopefully nobody's upset about that, and hopefully everybody got the message yesterday that things were a little different. Because why not? That's how we roll on this. This is episode 140 of the show that's not a show. And if we have learned anything through all of those episodes, it's that you never know. You never know how things are going to work out. I'm trying something new tonight because why not? We have, in addition to this normal camera here, we have the first test, and it is definitely a test of the beer cam. Hang on. It is here, the beer cam. So, and you guys can already see what I'm going to be drinking, so it's a little bit of a spoiler, but it's the beer cam. It's coming. I couldn't decide if I wanted an overhead camera or a little up close beer cam, but there's probably no possible way that I'll remember to switch to that sometimes, but we're going to drink a couple beers tonight because I put a message out on social media to Truth Beer Podsequences that I wanted I wanted the recipe for the Bloxarita that they were drinking, and they posted a picture of, and they didn't respond to me in time, so my blocks are still tucked away in the freezer, and I'm going to drink beer instead. No Bloxaritas for me. But it doesn't mean it's not going to be fun because I have some good stuff to drink. In the meantime, you guys know how this works, right? We hang out together. We talk about whatever we want to talk about, and you guys take part in the conversation. So with that being said, you do have the option. Sorry, I've got the camera way up high again. Got the option to... it's not even there. That didn't even work. Let's try... there we go. You have the option to call in. Here's the number, 567-70-DRINK, or you can take part in the chat, which we will go ahead and pull up, assuming that is going to work for us right there. You can take part in the chat, and it'll appear right on there. We'll figure this out. 140 episodes. We'll figure it out one of these days. You guys know what time of year it is. It's Oktoberfest season, so we're going to keep working through... Oktoberfest Quest. We have 2 more to go head-to-head today. I did one the other day and recorded a video that will be up on probably YouTube. So you can look forward to that. However, we have 2 fun ones today. One of which I have not tried yet this year, and one that I have. We have... I should use the beer cam. Hang on. If I can remember how to quickly switch that like this. Humble Monk, Block Party, Fest Beer. And that's going head-to-head against West Side's Fest Beer. This one I did already have. I had this the other day, and it was delicious. This one, I love the guys at Humble Monk, and I'm sure that this is delicious too. We're going to find out. If it's not, it's not. It'll lose. If you're new to this whole thing, every fall, every Oktoberfest season, I take every packaged Oktoberfest, I put them head to head, and I try to figure out what the best Oktoberfest beer is in the city. It's very hard to do, and my definition of what a perfect Oktoberfest is may not be the same as what your definition of a perfect Oktoberfest is. And I get that, and I respect it, but you're wrong. I'm right, and my opinion is the only thing that matters in this bracket. We're probably halfway through, a little bit more than halfway through round 1, I think, right now. And I'm going to get the post up on the website very soon that kind of tells you everybody that is taking part in the competition, whether they know it or not, and where things are standing right now. This one is going to be interesting. I can already tell you that. Joe says, is that West Side's Fest beer or Märzen? This is their Fest beer. I do have their Märzen upstairs, but I've been trying in round one at least to put Fest beers against Fest beers and Märzens against Märzens. And Block Party is supposedly a Fest beer. Fest beer is supposedly a Fest beer. However, if you look, clearly something is off between these. I also messed up in that I put Humble Monk in the West Side glass, and I put the West Side in the Sonder glass, just to make it a little confusing for everybody. It's fantastic, the West Side. I can tell you that already. I have not had the Humble Monk yet this year. So, just looking at them both, they are not similar at all. In fact, I could pull up the beer cam for you so you can see the difference between the two. That lighting is actually really crazy, the difference between what I'm looking at and what is up there on the screen. Clearly, the Humble Monk is extremely dark. Looks like a Dunkel, as Joe says, or maybe even it looks like a Märzen, whereas this one definitely looks more to style. Luckily, though, with this competition, I don't judge things to style. That may kind of factor in a little bit, but that is not at all how I make my choice of which one is the winner. It looks like Humble Monk is 5.3%, 20 IBUs, and they definitely call it a Fest beer. West Side, it is 6%, 32 IBUs, so it's a little higher ABV. They've got a description for us. We'll read that. It says, the traditional Oktoberfest beer is a chestnut brown malty beer. In the 70s, German breweries started making paler, hoppier, higher alcohol beers for the Oktoberfest celebration. And these are what we now widely, these are, if I could read, these are what are widely now, I'll get it here. These are what are now widely served at the Munich Oktoberfest celebration. Our version still has a bit more malt character than most Fest beers, but is paler, cleaner, and hoppier than our traditional Oktoberfest beer. I got through it. Joe says, actually, not quite a Dunkel with the beer cam. Yeah, the beer cam, the color, definitely, even that looks different than what I'm seeing over here. I don't know if that's a lighting thing. Here, let's put a little light on and see if that, it looks, it looks a lot lighter on the beer cam. That could just be the camera, though. It's just a cheap webcam. It is darker than what you're probably seeing on there. Still a good looking beer. Still looks like a Märzen to me. All right, I'm going to dive in. I'm going to give these a sniff. There is definitely heavy malt presence in the Humble Monk. Almost definitely a caramel malty note. A bit heavy on the caramel, actually. The West Side, there's this one fresh out of the can. There's almost a touch of like a sulfur almost, which it happens with lager yeast sometimes in my experience. That will, I'm assuming, be gone here in just a minute, but very, very, very different. Julia says, we're promoting Mansvaped 4. I'm assuming that has something to do with Manscaped, but I'm not sure. For the record, Manscaped does not sponsor the Weekly Pint, nor does Manscaped technically sponsor Drinking with a Gnome. It only sponsors Cincy Brewcast, which we haven't posted an episode for 2 years, so it doesn't matter. uh, she corrected herself and says, we're promoting Manscaped for you like a million times on all our episodes this week. I'll take it. She says, I hate this. I hate doing this on my phone. I appreciate the support no matter where it is. I definitely appreciate all of the jokes that you guys squeeze in there for for Manscaped. All right, I'm gonna get into these. I'm gonna taste them. I think I already know where I'm leaning on this, but also, by the way, I have to mention it. Shout out to Julia for picking up this 4-pack for me. I did not buy these. I did not pay for these, and that has to be disclosed legally. All right, let me dive in here real quick. Definitely caramely, super caramely. It's good. It's just fine, but it is way too sweet caramel. I enjoy it, but it is I don't even without. There would have to be something very wrong with this fest beer for this one to beat it right now. After tasting this one, the West Side yesterday, this beer was fantastic and very true to style. Let me dive in just to make sure. Yeah, that's it. That's an incredible fast beer. Absolutely delicious. It's light, but that crisp, malty, bready thing is front and center. It's an incredible beer. It's great. It's not even it's not even close. This one gets blown out of the water by Westside. The Humble Monk is I'm not gonna say it's off because it's not. It's probably what they wanted it to be, but it is not definitely not a fest beer, and not even really a Meritzem either. It's just a nice, good caramely beer. So it's not a dig at all at Humble Monk, but it's hard to go up against. It's hard to go up against Westside no matter what. But shout out to the guys over at Humble Monk. They didn't know that they were taking part in the competition this year, so it's not very fair to judge them too harshly either. So keep up the good work, guys. If you watch this, and I'll definitely be drinking more of this. So there's that. We're not going to do labels tonight because I didn't pull any this week. We're going to hang on to those for a couple more weeks before we do them. Joe says my prediction: West Side versus West Side. That would be hilarious. It'll be fun. Caroline says they're both breweries that love the German styles. Definitely. There's a lot of breweries in this city that really love German styles. You can't you can't turn around a corner and find a brewery that doesn't. I think that's definitely a brewery thing too. I mean, it's German beer styles play a big role in beer, and especially here in Cincinnati, where we have on top of that this German culture that we lean on very heavily to couple those two things up. You're going to get a lot of great German styles in the city. But yeah, there are a lot. There's a lot of great ones. We still have not this year yet tasted. Well, I mean, I've tasted it, but has not been in the competition. Sonder still has to compete. Braxton still has to compete. Let me look at my list here. Oh, I'm burping now. If I can think of the best place to get a list here, where I'm at in the competition. Like I said, I will have a post up on the website in in the next week or so that kind of breaks down the bracket and where I'm at. But for now, I can't keep anything straight. Caroline says drink. This isn't shift beers. Chris says you want to add 50 West. 50 West was already in it, and they, at least I think they were. I mean, I know I have some in the fridge. I really can't remember anything that I do on a day-to-day basis. Okay. Yes. Okay. So round one so far. Taft's Oktoberfest against Third Eye. I think we did that on this show that is not a show. And Third Eye won that one. Then we had 50 West Wienermobile versus Rheingeist Franz. And 50 West won that one. They moved on. Fretboards Rockin' the Rhine versus Wiedemann. We did that on something. I don't remember where we did that, but we did that somewhere. And Fretboard won that one. And then we have the one that is not posted yet, which I'll go ahead and tell you guys what it was. It was High Grain versus Madtree, and that was a very difficult one because those were both really good. And then we also now have this one to add to that list. So we're five head-to-heads in 10 beers in. We still have, that's what I was getting ready to read off, was the places that we haven't had yet. Braxton, Brink, Esoteric, Grainworks, Listerman, New Wales, Northern Row, Sam Adams, Sonder, Westside's Mertzen. And that's all I've got written down so far as places that I've confirmed are going to be in packaging. So there's still a lot to go. And after that, it gets even more exciting when we get to move into round two and we get to really start getting complicated, because these rounds where it's a fest beer versus a fest beer, a Meritzen versus a Meritzen, they're almost easy to kind of compare the two. When you get a super good fest beer up against a super good Meritzen, that's where things get a little more complicated. Mentally, you have to put yourself in a different position and at a different time in a different place than where you're actually sitting drinking the beer. Caroline says we got Brink in our fridge. I haven't had it yet, but Joe has. I've got it in my fridge, and I have not tried it yet. I try to go easy on the Oktoberfests that still have not competed yet, because I don't know how many cans I'm going to need throughout the competition. So the ones that lose, this Humble Monk, I now know that I can drink them. I can sit there and I can drink all of those and be okay. I try to leave one can for the very end, and then I will have one can of every local Oktoberfest, and I'll have a party, and we'll sit around and we'll just drink all of the Oktoberfests. I mentioned it a couple weeks ago. I'm going to take a big 3-liter boot, and I think I have a 3-liter boot. If not, it'll be a 2-liter boot, and we'll just do a little splash of each of them and make a big, giant Oktoberfest cuvee, and we'll see what Cincinnati Oktoberfest actually tastes like, which I've never tried before. I've drank them all, but not all together. So that's going to be interesting. That's about all I've got for you guys this week. I did not get an episode of the Brewcast recorded, unfortunately. So I think it's safe to say that Manscaped is probably not going to keep sponsoring the show, since I didn't put out the show. Their first month of sponsorship, half of the shows have not even existed. So there's that. Unless every single person that listens to the podcast went on there and bought a bunch of ball shavers and stuff, there's no way that sponsorship is going to continue. So that was yeah, maybe I sabotaged myself subconsciously, but I do have tomorrow morning for everybody a new episode of Drinking with the Gnome, where we sat down with Fruit Blood Wine and talked about what wine is and what Fruit Blood is, and we drank a bunch, and it was a lot of fun. Been sitting on that episode for I don't know. It's been like several months that we recorded it, and it's just been sitting there waiting to get posted, but I wanted to get the absinthe episode up first before I put this one up. There are very different, for anybody that doesn't know what I'm talking about. I have another podcast that's called Drinking with the Gnome, and on that show we explore things that aren't beer. So there might be like this week wine, cocktails, spirits, cider, maybe things like that. It's just bars, different aspects of drinking other than just breweries. So last week's episode was absinthe. That was a shorter episode, probably about 20 minutes or so, where we just do a little bit of the history of absinthe, make a cocktail together. Very basic type of show, which is fun. I like making those episodes. This week is something that's a little more familiar if you are a Brewcast listener, because it's interview based, so it's a little longer, about 45 minutes. And for the foreseeable future, Drinking with the Gnome will kind of bounce back and forth between those two types of episodes. You'll get the longer interview-based episodes, and you'll get the shorter, kind of nerdier episodes. That's just kind of, I don't really know exactly what the show is going to sound like in the end, but it would be fun to do the nerdier, short kind of stuff, and then follow that up with an interview. But just logistically right now, that's there's no way to do all that. Caroline says, we finally made it out to Hamilton's Dora. Her kids loved the water features. I have been preaching the gospel of Hamilton for a while now. I think it's so much fun to go out there and spend time. There are well, there's, as of right now, technically there's one brewery. You have a tap room for Fretboard out there also. You have a second brewery location opening up for Municipal. You have Amp House that is getting ready to open up at the other end of downtown. You've got Third Eye right outside of downtown that is opening up their production facility probably next year. There's just a lot, like as far as beer goes, there's a ton of stuff, but as far as bars go, there's some good stuff too. We've got Casual Pint there. You've got Pinball Garage. You have the new Pour House place over by Casual Pint. It's like a pour your own thing. Over across the river, you've got Billy Yanks, which is awesome and really, really good stuff over by Fretboard. It's all good stuff. Joe says that Fretboard had tanks. Do they not brew there? No, they don't. The tanks are just very, very pretty decorations right now. I don't anticipate that they'll ever be able to make it happen to where they're able to brew there, but that's just my opinion. I don't know that for a fact. There's a lot of weird. It's a long story with people that own the building versus the license being through one entity and then trying to bring a brewery on board. It's very complicated. So it would be tough. Let's see. Caroline says would love to hang out there all day sometime next summer. Yes, it would. It's a fun place to hang out. My kids like it. You nailed it with the idea of the kids being able to play in the water features, the fountains and stuff, and the little creek thing over there in the park. Meanwhile, you could just hang out and drink beer. Vernon says Quarter Barrel brewed there, supposedly, but stopped shortly after opening. Yeah, Quarter Barrel definitely brewed there. But that was again, the license. They had the license. Quarter Barrel had the license there. Once that all changed over, a different ownership group came in, and they now have a license there. So getting a brewing license that is Fretboard is it's a little more difficult. It's so silly the way that some of these things work. I think that, and this is just my opinion, I think it's some of the same problems that Happy 2 ran into over in Anderson when they were trying to open, coming into an existing bar that had a liquor license, and then trying to add a brewing license onto that. And then they had to completely kind of scrap everything and then get a whole new license to even be able to brew there, which is why it took so long for them to open their doors. But again, this is just speculation and me making assumptions on why things are the way they are. But it doesn't make a ton of sense to brew there. If you guys haven't been to Fretboard in Hamilton, the tanks sit right behind the bar in the middle of the first floor dining room there. It's a silly spot to put a brew house, and they're not maxed out on capacity in Blue Ash. They can supply plenty of beer to both locations, or very soon all 3 locations, and not have to worry about it. So there's a lot of reasons to just not worry about it. Again, in my opinion. Take it for what it is. It's just me talking out of my butt. So that's that. If anybody has anything else, we can talk about some other things, but that's really all I've got. It has been the last week or so has been pretty crazy, and I really haven't done much except try to get podcasts done, try to keep up to date on the website and all of that stuff. A couple video projects that I'm working on. I did, as the gnome, get out this last weekend to Terror Town out in Williamsburg. I had an event to a media night out there, and so I did make a video about that, which will hopefully be coming soon. That'll be interesting. There's a lot of footage, and it's a lot of very Blair Witch Project-like footage where you can't really tell what the heck is going on. You can't see anybody. You just see shaky cameras and out-of-focus footage and people screaming, basically. So I'm not really sure what that video is going to look like by the time it's done, by the time I get sorted through everything, but there will hopefully be something coming soon that is a Halloween themed video. On one hand, I want to get it up now to help promote this Terror Town out there, because it is fun. It's a neat event, but it's still too early for Halloween stuff. I don't know. On that same kind of note, I also did a little short video thing for the Urban Artifact Trick or Treat seltzer pack. I did get to try all of those, and it's not done yet, but I'm putting together a video trying not to spoil anything in the video, because again, I want to put it out now when it seems like everybody's running out buying them, but I don't want to spoil things before people get a chance to try them. I also don't know if anybody wants to hear about Halloween stuff before we actually get into September. So there's that. Has anybody else actually gotten to try all of those yet? I'm curious. Again, no spoilers, but I'm curious if anybody else went out and bought their 6-packs of Trick or Treat seltzers. If you don't know what I'm talking about, a few years back now, 2 years in a row, Urban Artifact released these mixed variety packs. They did beers previously. They did 6 different ones, and 4 of them were treats. So something, a lot of candy kind of flavored stuff, or Halloween themed flavors. And then 2 of them were tricks. And without pulling up notes, I can't remember what all of the tricks were in years past, but just things that don't really taste great. They're not bad. They're not disgusting. It's not like you're going to get a beer that tastes like, vomit or something, like those little jelly beans. But they just are not. They're not good. I think one was probably like mouthwash or toothpaste or something one year. Things like that. But it's a fun. So the idea of not knowing what you're going to be drinking is already fun. But when you couple it up with sitting around with a few friends and sharing something and kind of talking about what you think things are and guessing and just this that camaraderie and community side of drinking, it nails it so perfect and it's fun to do. So this last weekend, I sat around with my wife and my mother-in-law around a table, and we drank through them all, and I liked most of them, honestly. If that's not too much of a spoiler, even the tricks they weren't gross, they weren't that bad. One of the tricks I was not a huge fan of, but it wasn't bad. If I if I enjoyed that flavor, which I know a lot of people do, it was done fine, and I probably would have enjoyed it. But I don't enjoy that flavor. That's all I'll say without, so I don't spoil anything. We'll go ahead and wrap this up, guys. This is a different night, kind of a different type of show because of that. We went over to BJ's yesterday. It feels like it was last week. We went out to BJ's and hung out with Marco while he got his to-go food and his truth, and had a couple beers and ate some food and hung out there. I don't go there that often, even though it's fairly close to where I live, but just don't make it out there. Did try their Oktoberfest, which was okay. It wasn't the best Oktoberfest I've had, but it wasn't bad. It was fine. So if you ever find yourself out at BJ's this time of year, don't be afraid to get the Oktoberfest because it's not terrible. So that's that, guys. I appreciate you guys all hanging out with me. If you don't already know, the best way that you can support this show that is not a show, so you could support Cincy Brewcast, even though I haven't posted it for like 6 months. You can support Drinking with a Gnome, which I have posted. All of that stuff, you can go to thegnarlygnome.com/support, and you can help out that way because it really does help out a ton. And I promise, there's more stuff coming, and I'm working my butt off to make it all happen. Just remember that we are, in addition to all of the podcasts and the videos and stuff that we're putting out right now, we're also head first right now into planning a event at Braxton that is the tapping of this year's Big Sis. Make sure your calendar is marked for that on October 1st. Make sure I'm not saying dates that are wrong. October 1st, and then make sure you also have November 19th marked, because we're also in the middle of planning our beer festival. Again, beer, booze, and bonks. And I want you guys to all be there, so make sure that is also on the calendar, because if I'm going through all of this chaos week after week, planning all of this stuff while trying to still put out podcasts and videos and blogs, and then nobody shows up, it's going to be very sad. Chris says, come say hi this Friday night at Germania's 50th Oktoberfest, volunteering at the Warsteiner booth. I will definitely be there. I don't know if we know what day yet. Let's see if I could find the right month. That's September. I think as of right now, I'm tentatively planning on being there Saturday, but I don't really know. We'll see. A lot of it depends too. That's a whole other thing I have to talk to somebody about to figure out. We might be doing something around Oktoberfest that I can't really talk about yet, but I have to figure that out. So there's a chance I may be there Friday and Saturday. Who knows? Either way, I will probably be there at some point. So cheers, everybody. Definitely get out to Oktoberfest this coming weekend at Germania, because I still firmly, strongly, wholeheartedly believe that is the best Oktoberfest festival in the city. It is. It's perfect. It is absolutely perfect, especially when you get there and it's the sun goes down, and it's fantastic. So if you like drinking beers like this, and you like doing it with people that also get it, make sure you go. Thank you guys. I appreciate you very much, and I appreciate all of you hanging out and making this thing actually exist, because without you guys, the Weekly Pint, nothing exists. August is too hot. That's why you gotta wait till the sun goes down. That's when it gets perfect. Cheers, everybody. I appreciate you, and we'll be back next week for more of this. Cheers. If it helps, Donnerschwaben might be my second favorite Oktoberfest in town. If that helps.